I would like to ask a question. Since before you said you were very prudent in introducing new SPG lines, and actually a question is about the SPGs. Players, this is a question that is here, and it's a question that was asked many times before to us community managers. Are we going to do anything about artillery? Are we going to further limit the presence of SPG in games? Because many players are of the, they think that 3 SPGs for team is too much. Some would like to have 2, some would like to have top 1.
And some will definitely like to have 0, right?
Yes, those are the reasonable questions among the questions.
There was a very interesting debate this spring when we had a big press conference with Russian bloggers, and they also had this question. And many of them are very strong players, like much better than I. And I asked one of them, and like, oh, so do you play ranked battles a lot? Yeah, I do. I play ranked battles all the time. Top rank, week 1. Cool. Do you see too many artillery week 1 at top rank? No, basically 0. Do you see some change in the pattern, in the meta game, on how people play there when there is no artillery for a week? Well, don't you feel that there are like armored fists forming, a very big concentration of tanks on a single direction? And you go, oh, indeed it is. This is because there are no artillery. What artillery, I know that is evil. As a player, when I'm playing a tank and I'm being hit by artillery, especially if I really love a certain position, and all of a sudden, like from the skies, the big boom drops, right? I hate it too. However, it does something very important for the overall game, that making matches different and making your experience different. It does not allow you certain tanks to take certain super powerful positions for them. Like, let's say IS-7 has a very good positions across all the maps, where it effectively becomes invulnerable from 2 sorts of possible directions. And at the same time, it prevents armored fists from forming. In case we will remove artillery, let's say, altogether from somewhere, there will be at some point, I'm not saying immediately, so there are games without artillery, but there is a reflex that is built for thousands or hundreds of games with artillery, where people are trying to behave sort of the same way, a little bit more bravely, but sort of the same way. The moment we will get rid of artillery or severely reduce its quantity, tactics of amassing a number of guns bigger than the enemy number of guns will inevitably become the most useful tactics around. So a team that will walk into this point in a more cohesive manner, like all together, will have a huge advantage. And for ranked battles where we basically we put very high stakes on, so people are playing carefully, because losing means not only not getting experience or credits, but actually losing something.
Being demoted to a lower grade.
Being demoted, for example, it sort of keeps that in control. But if we will go into random, where people are most interested in their progression, this will inevitably become a dominant tactics that will ruin the game. So yes, I know that it's not the explanation many people want to hear, but artillery is very important for the integrity of the game, where we use rules that allow, in certain situation, people block damage completely, so tanks through without taking hits, and where multiple hits can annihilate without a right to resurrect, annihilate a player. So in a front line, you have more freedom because we have respawn. People try stuff, and even there, people were complaining about artillery. And it's very organic because you cannot retaliate. You cannot shoot back immediately at that guy who just ruined my day, who made me use my consumable where I was trying to save it for something else, etc., etc., etc. But they are like in a real war. They are keeping fronts spread.
So basically, Long story short, Arty needs to make the play of the game when it's required, and basically there needs to be balance in the force.
Yes, it's you know, nobody likes police officers, right? You cannot cross a road where you feel it's very convenient for you, right? You cannot do stuff you think is okay and then others don't. But they're necessary to keep
I
society
need
running.
to have the right to go wherever I want, shoot anything, do whatever.
The thing is, I actually have a confession to make. Even though we didn't really change anything with 1.0 with the graphics, they actually made Arty more palatable for me. You know why?
Really? Wow.
Because you guys actually did something really cool, and no one is commenting on it, which is strange to me. Is that the visual indicator for Arty became so much clearer for me. Like, I can see the enemy tanks around the corner. Arty shot comes in. I can see the Arty shot. It hits. I can see those tanks losing the tracks. It's like, okay, now I'm going in, right? And this, for me at least, I'm not sure for others, but it was not as clear before.
No, it wasn't.
Right?
Because we had the previous version of engine was not able to draw particles, let's say, quickly enough, because the shell moved really, really quickly. And in order to show this trail, you have to draw something or build up a particle system that is capable of spawning lots of particles really, really quickly and despawning them without paying a lot of price in performance. Another thing that is helping with, if you are playing artillery, is counter battering. So trying to hunt for artillery with artillery, because this is something that can create a very huge advantage to your team.
Here's a pro tip to fight artillery. Hide under something. And I'm
Doesn't
completely
work.
useless.
Okay, any other cool questions that we can ask from the guys?
Yes, there is a question.